I was visiting my sister last week and I noticed my niece and nephew were enthralled by an episode of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. In the typical fashion of the show, the characters overcame an obstacle using their strengths and balancing each other's weaknesses. I realized while glancing from scene to scene with the dialogue that each little pony was a rich character based on a distinct feminine archetype. Feminine archetypes are just a way to understand common traits of different aspects of feminine personality and that women may experience in their lives all at once or at different times in their development. There's just a lot of variation and room for differences within each character type. Don't believe me? Let's take a brief look. The main character of the show is Twilight Sparkle, and she's the quintessentially, scholarly, bookish, but she's worldly. She's traveled, the entire Kingdom of Equestria and even different countries surrounding Equestria. And she works, initially when she comes to our setting, like Ponyville or something, she has to work to shed her elitist self-reliance on that bookish knowledge and schooling and learn the friendship skills, and she truly lives amongst its citizens and realize that she has to listen and collaborate to solve problems and not be so selfish. After she learns this valuable lesson that she's been tasked with by Princess Celestia, she's entrusted with the protection of Equestria by using her intelligence to come up with strategies to defeat various enemies. And it's usually some sort of communication problem or a friendship problem. So that emotional objectivity could be an issue for her, especially when her friends are involved. But she knows how to prioritize and use her extensive knowledge in actual magic and friendship to come up with solutions. And that's why I would describe her as the sage. Now that we've gone over Twilight Sparkle, the next character that I have listed is Fluttershy. And Fluttershy is easily the maiden. She's very empathetic, she's very sweet, she's very soft-spoken, she loves animals. But because of her extreme kindness and tendency of letting people take advantage of her, she's friends with a toxic and chaotic personality. It's some kind of dragon shapeshifter creature, named Discord, so that she seems to be trying to reform with her kindness. So that's, easily shows that aspect of personality where, girls and women can be very sweet and very kind and very generous with their feminine energy to different people or animals that may or may not actually appreciate their focus on them. The next little pony that I would like to discuss is Applejack. Applejack has that country southern twang. She's a farmer. She helps raise her little sister. She works with her brother. She takes care of her grandma. She's always seen as a dedicated and hard worker. She's full of all sorts of wisdoms and I think it's called aphorisms. She has that, get it done and can-do attitude. Her compassion for others can often cause her to neglect herself, because I remember, I think there was an episode or two where Rarity had to convince her to go to the spa. And she can be very stubborn when it comes to confronting different changes, whether it's her sister growing up or her grandma, saying, hey, Applejack, you should be able to focus on yourself now. And she's like a little bit resistant to that idea of changes. The next little pony is Rainbow Dash. Now, Rainbow Dash, she's always been the sporty, competitive, maybe a little bit aggressive pony, but she's always the very first to come in defense of her friends. She doesn't let other people bully her friends, but because she's so forward driven to show her independence, to exhibit her competitive nature, and, being the first, being the best at something, that she might unintentionally come off as cruel or detached, even though she's feeling something, very deeply. She might not be in touch with her that softer side, but she's still wearing her heart on her sleeves for the things that really matter to her. And the next pony is a Rarity. Rarity, I think, really captures the idea of the lover. She's very sensual. She loves the finer, luxurious things in life. She's a designer, and she's just drawing people with her, magnetic energy. Just the way she speaks, it's so alluring. And she's very creative, always coming up with, unique design solutions. But a lot of the times I see that she can lose focus because her vanity can be her downfall. And she needs a lot of external validation saying that she's great, she's beautiful, she's a genius designer for her self-esteem. And that's something that, requires balance. Pinkie Pie, I don't think, she's one character that I feel like didn't really fit into just one specific archetype. I see her more as a combination of the lover because, again, she's a baker, she's very creative, and she's also very much in tune with, sound and texture and color. And she's also the huntress because she's like the best party planner. She has always very, high energy, high energetic. She's very creative, and independent. And she wants every pony to always like her, and she does her best to cheer others up, while sometimes ignoring her own issues and her own things that she might feel are her shortcomings. But she's always, ready to bring the party. Who needs a party cannon? And she'll, always be the first one to make some noise in support of her friends and their causes. A newer character that's been around for a while and has seen a lot of development is Twilight Glimmer. And I think Twilight Glimmer really fits, somewhat actually, within the idea of the mystic. She was originally an antagonist. She was emotionally unavailable and self-defeating, but her character has grown into one that is self-sufficient, but also allows for others to feel special in her presence because she's been really working on herself. She can be very practical and competitive as well. And that can be a challenge to her when she's trying to make new friends. And her mentor, Twilight Sparkle, has like the character foil and has been helping her to sort of lean in to what she's feeling. And instead of allowing others to misunderstand her, she's learning how to communicate in a way that's more open and inviting and warm to other people to approach her in order to solve different friendship, interrelationship problems. And finally, Princess Celestia and Luna, I'm saying they're queens, and I'm not saying that they're only the queens. After all, they're princesses, and princesses are, they're not considered usually the highest authority of rulership. There's a reason why they're both princesses and not, kings and queens. There's two sisters, and they have had really dramatic pasts over rivalries on, power between day and night, and loyalty, who has loyalty to them and loyalty to each other, to respect each other's unique identities and personalities. And there's there's a lot to say that, as part of womanhood, we might be experiencing something that's celestial, that's the sun, like we're like bringing in the joy and energy and vibrancy to everyone. Or we could be Princess Luna, where we're restful and we want to relax, we want to have good dreams. And a lot of those times when one of those things, when we're always on or we're always resting, when that's not in balance, there's something that we need to work on within ourselves that might be limiting us from having that sort of holistic experience. So I think that Princess Celestia and Princess Luna represent that united front in respecting and honoring those differences and ruling their princessdom with justice and emotional intelligence, and empowering the various other feminine archetypes in their realm, in their domain, to be the best that they can be. So this was just a fun little exercise in viewing a children's show under the lens of feminine archetypes of pop culture. This is the first time I've ever attempted to do something like this, of this nature. And I didn't intend to limit or put the characters in a specific box. They really are very dynamic, and they work constantly and consistently on their issues, always learning from each other. And I love that sort of positive feedback that they receive from each little pony's strengths, balancing out their weaknesses and learning from each other. Perhaps the most beautiful aspects of how this show highlights one of the most powerful nature of femininity to me is that women are crucial to facilitating the development of their communities with confidence, courage, and communication. And you see this happening with their interaction with the various male or masculine creatures in this little fictional world that's very rich and dynamic and so relatable. And I think it's a great show for kids to learn how to communicate and how to express their problems and think to offer creative solutions to. So, what do you think about the connections I've made? Do you think I missed a few? What other characters in this show or in others would you like me to look at through the lens of feminine archetypes or different feminine energies that are interacting with one another for character development and growth? Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe if you enjoyed my content, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. I was